Last time, it was an obscure prospect in Michael Benning that we covered in the Why I Want series, so next up, it's a guy who's boasting a very popular profile. A guy who is boasting a lot of hype, some places, less hype, other places, but overall, has cemented himself as one of the top prospects in the 2020 NHL Entry Draft. What is up, viewer out there watches Relax back here, and today, we are doing a Why I Want video on Anton Lundell, one of, if not the absolute best junior players to come out of Finland pretty much ever. And that's a very big claim. It's a bold claim. I know there's going to be a lot of dispute in the comments as to why I said that, but there are numbers to back up Anton Lundell's incredibly good junior Finnish tenure, and overall it's projected him towards the top part of this entry draft coming up, although there are some things that are pulling him back down as well. Anton Lundell is a 2020 eligible prospect born October 3rd, 2001. He is one of the older players in this 2020 NHL draft, a 6'1", 187-pound center playing for the HIFK in the Finnish Liiga. Now, when it comes to prospects who have played in the Liiga for their draft years, there are a few that stand out. Obviously, Anton Lundell this year is one of them, but before we had Kaapo Kakko. The year before that, we had Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Lundell is next in line with these guys in terms of being a top Finnish draft pick, and then Aatu Räty next season is projected to going first overall, followed by Brad Lambert in 2022. Lundell is next in line in this big lineup of really good Finnish prospects, and when it comes to the way that he plays and the way that he projects, there is a lot of reason to see why. Anton Lundell, getting into the numbers first and foremost, can be somewhat misleading, because last year when Lundell was 17 years old, he played for the Junior ASM Liiga and he was over a point per game there. Again, he was 17 years old, this is a U20 league. He was so good that he was promoted to the Liiga as a 17-year-old player, and he played full-time for the HIFK, getting 19 points in 38 games. Wait a minute. This guy was 17 years old playing in the Finnish Liiga, and he had such a high points per game for a 17-year-old in a league that really is one of the best leagues in the world. How the heck is this guy not one of the top prospects in the 2020 NHL draft? If you take a look at the numbers, Anton Lundell's draft minus 1 year was similar to Jesperi Kotkaniemi's draft year. It was also similar to Alexander Barkov's draft minus 1 year. Barkov was a guy who went top 2, Kotkaniemi was a guy who went top 3, Anton Lundell is in some crazy great quality of competition to play alongside of, right? Take a look at some of the other guys that he beat out. He was better than Toivo Teravainen, he was better than Sebastian Aho. Certainly not a bad bet. However, this past season, Anton Lundell is a guy who posted up 28 points in 44 games played. It's a drop-off from what people were expecting he could do, but at the same time, 28 points in 44 games in the top Finnish Liiga, that's not bad at all. The thing with Anton Lundell that is causing people to drop him down draft rankings, because at the moment he is ranked 13th by Hockey Prospects, 6th by Future Considerations, 8th by ISS, 11th by McKeen's, and 9th by Elite Prospects, is his overall projectability at offense. Because when it comes to Anton Lundell, sure, the points are cool, the point production is awesome, but it's not the same as what Kaapo Kakko was able to do, for example, from last year. The fact is, Anton Lundell is probably the best player in the NHL draft this season when it comes to his play away from the puck. Scouching said this in his scouting report on Anton Lundell, but Lundell is just a guy who gets it. Everything that you want a center to be able to do when he doesn't have the puck, Anton Lundell does really well. He knows where to be when the puck is off of his stick, he knows where to be to set up the play properly, and he knows how to react when the play is going on around him to make sure he keeps his team in a safe position. When it comes to forwards in this draft who know how to play defense, Anton Lundell is probably the best in the entire class. When you watch Anton Lundell play, this is something that Face Off with Farron Holtz said in his video, you don't see this guy and you think, darn, that's an 18-year-old. Anton Lundell plays like an established hockey veteran who's been through the grinds of the ranks and who knows how to play the game properly. For a guy who is only 18, the maturity in his game is so strong. You don't see a lot of levels of flash with this player. You don't see the willingness to dangle through guys and score goals on his own. You see a player who wants to make his team win every single shift out there. And you see a player who does all the little things correctly in order to allow his team to do that. Play along the boards, play positionally in the defensive zone, his play with the puck in and along the cycle, his light touch passes to set up guys on the side who have better opportunities to score than he does. Anton Lundell is probably the best overall team player when it comes to projectability in this year's draft. Sure, his point production last year was akin to Alexander Barkov's, and it was better than Jesperi Kotkaniemi's, but it's not about the points for Anton Lundell. It's about the qualities that he has as a center that makes the team just play better. He thinks the game so well that when it comes to being a factor on the ice in terms of team quality, he is one of, if not the best in the draft class. But it's those numbers, it's the production, and it's the somewhat not super strong skating that is holding him back on the draft rankings. Earlier on before the season started, before people were starting to get all their data for 2020 NHL prospects, Lundell was a guy who legitimately could have cracked the top 3, the top 4, the top 5 in some lists because his numbers from 2018-19 were so strong. But it's the goal-scoring ability of Alexander Holtz and Jack Quinn. It's the overall explosion offensively of a Tim Stützle. It's Jamie Drysdale's stellar play. It's Marco Rossi's point production that pushed them forward in the draft rankings than an Anton Lundell. Lundell is not supposed to be an elite 100-point producer. He's a guy that will probably max out at 50, 55, maybe 60 points in the National Hockey League as a really, really capable two-way second-line center. Maybe he could play a first-line center role sometime down the line, but the offensive production is not something that you would expect out of an Anton Lundell. What you're expecting is a very, very efficient, shutdown center who can make his team better every shift he plays. Among all forwards in the Finnish Liiga with over 6 games played, Anton Lundell is second in the entire league in Corsi, which is shot differential percentage. Which means that every time Anton Lundell is out there on the ice, his team produces 61.9% of the shot attempts at the goal. The only other player whose team produces more shot attempts when he is on the ice is Jesse Puljujärvi. And that's the thing. Lundell is second as an 18-year-old in the entire Finnish Liiga, which is a pro men's league. This guy is already so efficient that he is one of the best players in the league at controlling shot attempts for his own team, and he's only 18 years old. He's a guy who just knows how to play the game properly, and who won't go out there trying to score a boatload of points and sacrifice the well-being of his team while he's out there. He's a guy that coaches and scouts are going to really like just from seeing the way he is efficiently able to play the game and the positive things he does out there for his team. Which is why Anton Lundell to some people is indeed still a top 3 prospect. I have seen some people arguing the idea of Anton Lundell being a 3rd overall caliber player. But at the same time, the flashiness of a Tim Stützle, the production of a Rossi, these are the things that are pushing other people above Anton Lundell, which is why when it comes to being a top 10 team in the draft, it really depends on what you value more. The safety in how you already have a really strong player in Lundell who may not have the offensive upside as a Tim Stützle, or a guy who probably has less defensive capabilities and less of an overall projectability defensively than a Lundell, but who has a higher, flashier ceiling. Let's just say like a Jack Quinn. So when it comes to Lundell's projectability at the NHL, he's a guy who can be, some people have been saying it, a Selke candidate. This guy could probably win a few Selkes in his career because of how efficiently he's able to play the game away from the puck. But if you're drafting this guy because you want him to produce points like Barkov, then you're kind of doing it wrong. So that's my take on Anton Lundell, the best player away from the puck in the 2020 NHL Entry Draft, in my opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.